Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about the GOP debate that should be taking place later tonight. Basically, everything you need to know coming up to these debates and what to expect with these debates. Now, I may or may not be able to watch these debates that will be taking place tonight, as it's coinciding with a soccer game which I will be watching. Although that game starts at 7 p.m. and the debates start at 9 p.m., I might be able to make it. I'll more than likely miss like the first 15 or 30 minutes of the debates. It all depends how long the added time is, and if it ever goes to extra time and penalties, then I might end up missing it altogether and have to rely on clips from Twitter for my upcoming analysis video, which won't be coming tomorrow since there is a big news event happening tomorrow with Trump, the mugshot, and the fourth indictment, which we will be talking about tomorrow. But I'm still pretty confident that I'm still able to make the debates even after this soccer game that I will be watching. So let's start off with who is going to be in these debates. Who are the confirmed candidates that we will be seeing in tonight's debates? So right now, the confirmed debaters are as followed: Doug Burgum, Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Asa Hutchinson, Mike Pence, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tim Scott. Now, of course, Trump's not on the list. He chose not to participate in this debate. Instead, he opts to go on Tucker Carlson and do an interview live on Twitter around the same time the debates start, so 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll watch the replay to that interview, but I don't think I'm going to make the live for that. Although it won't necessarily hurt to make an analysis of that as well, along with the GOP debates. The Trump-Tucker interview analysis, that's not confirmed just yet, but the GOP debates analysis, that is confirmed. It won't be coming out tomorrow since I won't have time to cover it because there's much bigger news happening on that day, but it will be coming out sometime this week, so make sure you are subscribed, turn those noties on, because I'm your news guy. I keep you guys up to date with everything that is going on in the world. Whether that be politics or internet drama, I got you covered. So anyway, Burgum, Christie, DeSantis, Haley, Hutchinson, Pence, Ramaswamy, Tim Scott, we're going to be seeing 8 candidates partake in this debate. Now, as I said before, it will start around 9 p.m. EST. It is being held in Wisconsin, if I remember correctly, and it will be held on Fox News, moderated by Brett Baier and Martha McCallum. Now, here's what to expect. This debate, obviously, no surprise, will either hurt the candidate or help them. It all really depends how good these people debate and what they are saying. And we've basically seen the same situation play out in multiple elections. In the 2016 election with both parties, the 2020 election with the Democratic debates. So we should expect to see the same situation play out in tonight's debates. Now, for the most part, pretty much all of the candidates are going to be saying pretty much the exact same shit. Some of them are genuine with what they're saying and are actually pretty good, and I expect them to be pretty good, and some of them it's going to be more obvious, and it's going to hurt them in polling as a result. Now, I am pretty much familiar with all but one of these candidates that are partaking in this debate. Doug Burgum is pretty much the only one that I really don't know much about, but I already know who Chris Christie is. I expect Chris Christie to do exactly what he did in the 2016 election and be that same candidate. Nikki Haley is going to do what Nikki Haley does best. She's probably going to talk about Ukraine and how we need to get more involved with Ukraine. Not going to go well to some of these voters. I do expect a handful of candidates to mention Ukraine at least once or twice, talking about how, we need to do more to help them out and whatnot. I mean, Nikki Haley really is just a female John McCain when you really think about it. I expect her to sound just like Trump, but a little more interventionist. Mike Pence, on the other hand, I think we should already know by now what he thinks about this country. According to him, America is not really his concern. I expect him to start advocating more involvement in Ukraine as well. Asa Hutchinson is just another Phil Scott when you really think about it. Tim Scott, well, an SJW, especially in terms of race. I mean, he's not wrong when he says America is not a racist country, and that's just the only thing that makes him good. I'm just laughing at the people who a couple years ago were all saying, oh, Tim Scott 2024. Well, just so we are aware, if you try and attempt to create a Tim Scott Candace Owens ticket for the Republicans, you're still gonna be called racist. I hate to tell you this. So we all know Nikki Haley, viciously pro-war, female John McCain, Mike Pence, U.S. citizens are not my concern, and of course I forgot to mention the post-2020 election debacle. Hutchinson is trying his best to out-left Phil Scott at this point. I know nothing about Burgum, not many people know who this guy is anyway, and Tim Scott is just a boring dude who plays the race card every now and again when necessary. That leads us to two candidates on the debate stage that we should be keeping our eyes on. My very own governor, Ron DeSantis, and Vivek Ramaswamy. Now, I've been following Vivek since he announced his bid for the presidential race, and I gotta say, I really like this dude. I mean, he kinda reminds me a little bit of 2016 Trump, and a lot of 2016 Rand Paul, and even some elements of 2012 Ron Paul. He's America first, a lot of what he's promising, and a lot of his policies are America first. He's railing against the establishment. A lot of what he's been saying lately, he's young MAGA. And I like that a lot. We need more people like Vivek Ramaswamy, not less. For a while, my governor was like my second choice for the GOP race, but Vivek has impressed me throughout his entire campaign. Young, hip and cool, while also keeping America First promises and policies that MAGA represents. Also worth note, there has been a few things that my governor has done that I don't necessarily agree with. That goes with most politicians I support. Vivek Ramaswamy is definitely somebody we should be paying attention to in this debate. I think Vivek is going to be doing a great job in this debate, and quite frankly, I think he's going to be the winner here. But the true winner, obviously, is Trump, even if he's not on stage. But I'm going to see a lot of people say that Ramaswamy won the debate. There are a lot of Trump supporters who are only Donald Trump and will stick with Donald Trump, who like Vivek Ramaswamy. They don't necessarily want him to be president, because obviously they're sticking with Trump, but at least a good portion of those Trump voters want him to be his running mate and the VP, or at the very least, give him a cabinet position. Now, Ron DeSantis is going to be a 50-50. This will be the litmus test for him. So far, his campaign off to a rocky start with that disaster campaign launch. Ever since he launched his campaign, it has been nothing but a complete clusterfuck. And it seems like he cares more about his presidential ambitions than his own state and his own people that live here. His campaign is completely low effort, poorly run. He had to hire and fire multiple members, essentially creating like a revolving door type situation. He's been doing poorly in the polls. There are even some polls that show Vivek Ramaswamy in second and him in third. And some of the polls, like in Iowa and New Hampshire, I even recall seeing a poll of him being in fifth in New Hampshire. 5th place! So far, it's not been great for Florida man. This debate will be that test for Florida man. I can't 100% predict how he's going to do. Ron DeSantis is a really good debater. I've seen him debate before when he was running for governor in Florida back in 2018. And judging by how he's doing with this campaign, that's also another thing to factor. So this is essentially just a hit or miss for Ron. Realistically, Vivek Ramaswamy and Ron DeSantis are going to be the two candidates that will stand out and the two candidates that most GOP voters are going to be paying attention to. Now, will this necessarily change anybody's opinion on the GOP nomination? Yes and no. Depending how each candidate performs, we are either going to see candidates rise or candidates fall. Usually the debates affect how a candidate does in the polls. This will be a litmus test for some of these candidates, especially for Ron DeSantis. And here's also another thing. Trump has an insurmountable lead in the polls right now for the GOP nomination, and he's probably going to be nominated, almost like he's running unopposed. At this point, he's pretty much the de facto GOP nominee, and certainly those indictments that he's been getting lately are causing him to rise more and more in the polls. So the reality is, this is just a battle for second place, or as Donald Trump likes to put it, who his running mate will be. Most GOP voters are still going to go with Trump anyway. And even if they disqualify him after a certain indictment with the 14th Amendment, supposedly, which they can't do, and is highly unlikely, people are still going to write him in anyway. The only way the Republican nomination field becomes wide open is if Trump dies. And that's just about it. This is just a battle of second place. The battle of who will Trump pick as a running mate, or who is a viable running mate for Trump, if anything. We still need to pay attention to them, pay attention to those polls. Who is a better option for VP, Vivek or DeSantis? Although they can't run if you're the same home state, so it's going to be a little bit of a problem there. I still think Vivek Ramaswamy is going to do absolutely well in this debate, and I think Trump's going to keep him on radar as a viable running mate. I like the dude a lot, and I wish him all the best. I certainly am one of the guys who would vote for him in the primary and be happy for whoever is nominated. But Trump obviously is the de facto GOP candidate. It wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing to see him in a cabinet position of some sort. In fact, some Trump guys want him to be Trump's VP, but if not VP, somewhere in the cabinet. We've seen presidents do that before. Obama picked Hillary Clinton to be Secretary of State. We all know how well that went. Benghazi. Trump picked Dr. Ben Carson as HUD Secretary, and Joe Biden picked Buttigieg as Transportation Secretary. Maybe Trump does the same, and Vivek Ramaswamy might become Secretary of State or Attorney General. I still prefer a VP option, but I'll be happy with any cabinet position, and maybe he will give Vivek Ramaswamy a chance for 2028. He'd be perfect. But what are your thoughts about these debates? Are you going to be watching the debates? Are you going to be watching the Trump-Tucker interview? Who do you think is going to get the nomination? Who do you think is going to be the surprise in this debate? Who do you think is going to be the disappointment in this debate? Don't forget to leave all your thoughts in the comment section down below, as I always end the conversation down to you. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the little notification bell. Be sure to follow me on all my social medias. Links are in the description below, as always. Share this video around with your friends, families, boyfriends, girlfriends, enemies, whomever. Definitely helps me out a lot, helps the video grow, and helps grow the channel if you share this video with whomever you know. And if you want to connect with me more, don't forget to join the Discord server. Link will be in the description and in a pinned comment down below, where you can talk to me, hang out, chit-chat, play video games with me, and send me some news tips and video ideas on what to cover for a future video. But anyways, guys, like, subscribe, ring notifications, and until then, take care, talk soon, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.